The crowd buzzed with anticipation as Alex stepped into the arena, the cacophony of alien voices reverberating against the high walls. The heat from the midday sun bore down, shimmering over the polished ground. Glancing around, he saw the massive forms of his opponents, a trio of alien gladiators, each more formidable than the last. Their skin shimmered in hues he'd never encountered, with muscles rippling beneath the surface. They regarded him with a mix of disdain and curiosity, as if wondering how a mere human could possibly be a threat. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena, translating the alien dialect into something Alex could understand. "Welcome, honored spectators! Today, we witness the Deathworlder, Alex, facing our champions." A roar erupted from the crowd, a mixture of cheers and taunts aimed at him. His heart raced, not from fear, but from the thrill of the fight. He'd fought worse in his past, and the thought of proving himself filled him with determination. With a slight grin, he squared his shoulders and prepared for battle. The aliens charged, a blur of color and motion. Alex crouched low, instinctively adapting to the swift onslaught. The first alien lunged, a massive creature with serrated arms that gleamed like steel. Timing his move perfectly, Alex sidestepped and delivered a sharp elbow to its side. The alien stumbled but quickly regained its balance, glaring at him with renewed ferocity. Each combatant struck with an intensity that would have decimated lesser opponents. But Alex, drawing on his experiences from Earth's brutal gladiator competitions, remained unfazed. He pivoted gracefully, avoiding blows that would have crushed a lesser being. His movements were a fluid dance, a mix of martial arts and street fighting techniques honed through years of survival. He felt the adrenaline coursing through him, every nerve ending alive with the thrill of combat. The second alien joined the fray, a lithe creature with long, whip-like appendages. It darted in and out, striking at Alex with incredible speed. Yet Alex remained calm, assessing its patterns. As it lunged, he anticipated the attack, catching its arm and using its momentum to flip it over his shoulder. The alien hit the ground with a resounding thud, and for a moment, silence filled the arena. In the brief lull, Alex surveyed the crowd. Faces filled with awe and disbelief met his gaze. The alien spectators were witnessing something they had never seen before. Humans didn't just survive, they thrived against insurmountable odds. He could almost hear their thoughts, questioning how a Deathworlder could challenge their finest warriors. Alex smirked at the irony. To him, this was just practice. The final combatant, a hulking behemoth adorned with scales, approached with deliberate slowness. Its eyes narrowed as it assessed Alex, a low growl emanating from its throat. This one wouldn't underestimate him. Alex had faced beasts like this before, creatures that relied on brute strength rather than cunning. He steadied himself, preparing for the inevitable clash. The moment arrived with explosive intensity. The alien charged, swinging its massive arm with the force of a battering ram. Alex ducked under the strike, feeling the rush of air as the alien's fist grazed his back. In a split second, he spun around, landing a precise kick to its knee joint. The creature howled in pain, and Alex seized the moment. He followed up with a series of rapid punches, each connecting with precision. As the behemoth faltered, Alex realized he had the upper hand. The crowd erupted in cheers and gasps, their disbelief morphing into something akin to respect. He was no longer just a curiosity, he was a fighter, a gladiator proving that humanity was more than it seemed. The alien warriors exchanged glances, their confidence wavering as they watched their champion struggle. The fight raged on, each movement a testament to Alex's resilience. He maneuvered with an agility that was almost unnatural, dodging blows and countering with calculated strikes. Each time an alien swung at him, he found a way to exploit their openings, using their strength against them. It was exhilarating, the way combat flowed through him, igniting every fiber of his being. When the first alien returned to its feet, it charged once more, but Alex was ready. He sidestepped again, this time grabbing its arm and using its momentum to toss it over his shoulder. The alien landed hard, stunned. With one opponent down, he turned his focus back to the scaled giant, which had recovered and now bore down on him with renewed fury. The crowd's energy was palpable, a living entity that surged around him, feeding his adrenaline. He could feel their eyes on him, the way they shifted from anticipation to shock as he dispatched each foe. Alex knew he was making a statement, not just for himself but for all of humanity. This was more than survival. It was a declaration of strength. As the behemoth charged again, Alex calculated his next move. With a well-timed leap, he landed on the creature's shoulders, wrapping his legs around its neck. He could hear the crowd gasping, their astonishment resonating through the air. With a powerful twist, he pulled backward, throwing the creature off balance. It crashed to the ground, the force shaking the arena. Now standing over the fallen alien, Alex glanced around at the audience, a challenging gleam in his eyes. "Just practice," he muttered, a cocky smirk crossing his face. The alien warriors could only stare in disbelief, their expressions a mix of horror and awe. The realization began to sink in. They were witnessing a different kind of warrior. A Deathworlder who didn't just fight to survive, but who relished the challenge. The announcer's voice boomed once more, translating Alex's words into the alien dialect. "The Deathworlder mocks our champions!" Gasps erupted from the spectators, and murmurs spread like wildfire. What had they expected? That a mere human would be intimidated? Instead, here he was, thriving, drawing strength from every strike, every moment. As the dust settled and the crowd absorbed the spectacle, Alex felt a sense of victory that transcended the fight itself. He had become a symbol of human resilience, an ambassador for all those who dared to face insurmountable odds. And as he prepared for the next round, he knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning. As the dust settled from the clash, Alex stood in the arena, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The crowd's roars echoed in his ears, a chaotic symphony of emotions ranging from awe to anger. He wiped the sweat from his brow, glancing at the fallen aliens, now a mix of pride and pain on their faces. The reality of his victory began to sink in. For them, this was more than a duel. It was a cultural clash that challenged their beliefs about combat and honor. The announcer's voice rang out, excitement palpable. "The Deathworlder prevails! Our champions have been bested!" A collective gasp swept through the audience, their expressions oscillating between disbelief and burgeoning respect. Whispers began to ripple among the spectators, questioning how a human could achieve what they deemed impossible. This was not just a fight, it was an awakening. With the first round concluded, the alien gladiators retreated, visibly shaken. They had not expected to be so easily outmatched by a being they considered inferior. The defeated warriors huddled together, exchanging glances filled with concern. The announcer's voice rang out, excitement palpable. "The Deathworlder prevails! Our champions have been bested!" A collective gasp swept through the audience, their expressions oscillating between disbelief and burgeoning respect. Whispers began to ripple among the spectators, questioning how a human could achieve what they deemed impossible. This was not just a fight, it was an awakening. With the first round concluded, the alien gladiators retreated, visibly shaken. They had not expected to be so easily outmatched by a being they considered inferior. The defeated warriors huddled together, exchanging glances filled with concern. The scales had shifted, and they felt the weight of their defeat. For centuries, they had boasted about their superiority, but now, a single human had shattered that illusion. The young alien who had been watching Alex intently felt a rush of curiosity mixed with admiration. In the corners of the arena, alien scholars began debating furiously, their voices rising in heated discussions. They were analyzing the fight, examining the implications of a human defeating their strongest. "It's not just strength," one scholar declared, his tentacles flailing with excitement. "It's adaptability. Look how he maneuvers." Others nodded in agreement, intrigued by Alex's unique approach to combat. Meanwhile, Alex took a moment to breathe, allowing the weight of his victory to settle. He reflected on his journey, the countless fights he had faced on Earth, and how they had prepared him for this moment. In his mind, this duel had been just another training session, a means to hone his skills further. As he surveyed the crowd, he noted their reactions, fear, fascination, and an undeniable respect that was beginning to grow. Among the spectators was a young alien named Varric, a scholar in training, who was captivated by Alex's confidence. Varric had always been taught that strength equated to superiority, yet here was a being that challenged that belief with sheer determination. His heart raced as he watched the human, longing to understand more about this creature who defied their expectations. After a brief respite, the next round was announced. Alex found himself in the center of the arena once more, adrenaline still surging. The second round promised new challenges, and he was eager to see what lay ahead. The atmosphere crackled with tension, and the crowd quieted, all eyes fixed on him. Varric, unable to contain his curiosity, leaned forward in his seat, desperate to absorb every moment of this unexpected spectacle. The alien warriors returned to the arena, this time with a sense of urgency. They were no longer the overconfident gladiators. Instead, they bore the weight of their previous defeat, understanding that they must adapt to face Alex. The first opponent approached, his body radiating with an intimidating energy. The crowd held its breath, and Varric felt the tension in the air. As the battle commenced, Alex felt the difference in the atmosphere. The aliens fought with a newfound ferocity, their strikes more calculated. The initial arrogance was gone, replaced by a determination to reclaim their honor. Alex dodged the first blow, a powerful swing aimed at his head, and quickly countered with a swift jab to the alien's midsection. The crowd erupted into cheers, their excitement palpable. The fight escalated, each movement more intense than the last. The alien, now aware of Alex's capabilities, fought with caution, but Alex was in his element. He exploited every opening, moving like water, fluid and unpredictable. With each punch, he reminded them of his humanity, resilient, adaptable, and relentless. This wasn't merely a fight for survival. It was a dance of strength and skill, a battle of wills. As the combat continued, Varric observed closely. He could see the human strategy unfold in real time. "He's not just reacting, he's planning several moves ahead," he whispered to his companion, wide-eyed with wonder. Others around him began to listen, nodding in agreement, realizing that this Deathworlder was more than just a fighter. He was a strategist, employing tactics that transcended brute force. The combat reached its climax when Alex executed a series of moves that left the alien staggering. With a decisive spin, he landed a final blow that sent his opponent crashing to the ground. As the creature fell, the crowd erupted into a thunderous roar. Alex raised his fists, acknowledging their cheers with a grin. The victory was not just his, it belonged to humanity, a testament to their strength. But even amidst the cheers, Alex felt a pang of empathy for his fallen opponents. He understood what it meant to fight not just for victory but for survival. They were warriors, too, shaped by their own cultures and beliefs. He glanced at them, seeing the frustration and anger mixed with the respect slowly dawning in their eyes. In that moment, he realized he was not just battling for himself. He was forging a new narrative for humanity in an alien world. After the round ended, the alien spectators were abuzz with conversations, trying to make sense of what they had just witnessed. The scholars debated the implications of Alex's fighting style, pondering whether it was simply a product of Earth's brutal environment, or a deeper understanding of combat that transcended species. Varric's heart raced as he listened, feeling inspired by the possibilities of bridging their worlds. As the final round approached, Alex felt the weight of the moment. He was no longer just a gladiator. He had become a symbol of defiance against the status quo. The challenge ahead would not just be about physical prowess. It would be a battle of minds, a clash of cultures that would redefine their understanding of strength and honor. And for Alex, it was an opportunity to show the universe what humanity was truly capable of. When the announcer declared the final round, the crowd hushed once more, their excitement palpable. Varric leaned forward, his heart pounding in anticipation. What will happen next? He wondered. Would the aliens finally understand the human spirit? Would they learn to respect not just the fighter before them but the species that refused to be underestimated? As the gates opened for the next opponent, Alex stood ready, aware that this moment was about more than survival. It was a chance to connect with an entirely different species, to show them that strength came in many forms. He was determined to demonstrate that humanity's resilience and ingenuity could inspire change, even in the heart of an alien arena. The crowd held its breath, waiting to see how this extraordinary tale would unfold. The atmosphere in the arena shifted as the final round approached. Alex could sense the tension among the alien spectators. The previously boisterous crowd had transformed into an anxious mass, eagerly anticipating the outcome of this extraordinary spectacle. He had come to understand that this was more than just a fight. It represented a cultural crossroads, a moment when the perceived boundaries of strength and honor would be challenged. As he stood in the center, the announcer called forth the next opponent. This one was larger and more intimidating than any he had faced so far, an alien warrior adorned with intricate armor that gleamed in the arena's light. The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices a mix of encouragement and dread. They understood that this fight would be different. Alex could feel their expectations weighing down on him, yet he embraced the challenge, drawing strength from the mounting pressure. The clash began with a thunderous roar as the armored warrior charged, moving with surprising speed for its size. Alex's instincts kicked in, and he dodged the initial strike, narrowly avoiding a blow that would have knocked him out cold. The alien's power was palpable, and he knew he had to outsmart it to have any hope of victory. He shifted his stance, ready to adapt to whatever came next. The crowd watched in rapt attention as the two combatants circled one another. For the first time, Alex felt the weight of their collective gaze. This wasn't just about proving his worth. It was a moment to reshape the perception of humanity. The alien lunged again, its armored fists swinging with devastating force. Alex ducked and weaved, relying on his agility to evade the powerful blows. Each near miss felt like a testament to his resolve, reinforcing his belief that he was not merely fighting for himself, but for all of humanity. Varric, still watching from the stands, felt a growing admiration for the human gladiator. He had spent his life hearing tales of strength and honor from his people, but nothing compared to what he was witnessing. "He fights with a purpose," Varric murmured to his companion. "It's more than survival, it's a declaration." Others around him nodded, their expressions a mix of awe and disbelief as they began to grasp the depth of what Alex was embodying in the arena. As the fight progressed, Alex employed every technique he had learned, blending martial arts with street fighting tactics. He could see the confusion in the eyes of the alien warrior as it struggled to predict his next move. The crowd's gasps echoed as Alex executed a feint, drawing the alien into a miscalculated strike. With a quick pivot, he capitalized on the opening, delivering a series of rapid punches to its side. The impact sent shockwaves through the warrior, visibly shaking its confidence. In the stands, conversations shifted. Alien spectators began to analyze Alex's style, trying to understand how he was managing to keep pace with a creature far more powerful than himself. "It's his strategy," one scholar observed, excitement dancing in his eyes. "He's not merely reacting, he's adapting. He's proving that strength alone isn't enough." The notion began to spread through the crowd, a subtle shift in understanding that humanity was capable of more than brute force. With each exchange of blows, the alien warrior began to grow frustrated. It had relied on its size and power, and now, faced with Alex's unorthodox methods, it struggled to regain control. Alex felt a surge of adrenaline, sensing that the tide was turning. He had effectively turned the tables, forcing the alien to rethink its approach. Varric leaned forward, unable to look away. He was captivated not just by the fight, but by the implications of what it meant for his people. If this Deathworlder could challenge their strongest, could it not also represent a different way of thinking about strength and honor? "Perhaps we've misunderstood them," he whispered to his companion, his mind racing with new ideas. "What if strength is not just in muscles but in resilience and creativity?" The warrior charged again, its frustration boiling over. It swung wildly, aiming to overwhelm Alex with sheer brute force. But Alex remained composed, sidestepping and weaving through the attacks with newfound confidence. Each dodge ignited a flicker of excitement within the crowd, the energy palpable as they witnessed the evolution of the fight. For the first time, they were not just spectators but participants in a transformative moment. With a decisive move, Alex capitalized on the alien's overcommitment, delivering a powerful kick that connected with its side. The impact echoed through the arena, and the crowd erupted into cheers. It was a pivotal moment. Alex was not merely fighting back, he was asserting humanity's place in this alien landscape. He had transformed from an outsider to a challenger, and now, he was being recognized for it. As the fight continued, Varric found himself deeply moved. The more he watched, the more he realized that this was not just about physical confrontation. It was about breaking down barriers, challenging preconceived notions of what it meant to be strong. Alex embodied a new paradigm, one that emphasized resilience, strategy, and adaptability over sheer force. This realization filled Varric with hope. Perhaps this was the beginning of a new understanding between their worlds. The final moments of the fight were electric. Alex and the armored warrior exchanged blows, each one punctuated by the crowd's reactions. The alien began to tire, its movements slowing. Alex seized the moment, executing a flurry of rapid punches that left the warrior staggering. In a bold maneuver, he leapt onto the alien's back, wrapping his legs around its torso. The crowd gasped collectively, their disbelief transforming into exhilaration. As the armored giant struggled, Alex tightened his grip, urging the alien to yield. He could feel the warrior's muscles straining against his weight, the realization dawning that strength alone might not be enough to win this fight. The moment stretched, suspended in time. The crowd held its breath, their expectations hanging in the balance. Finally, with a roar of frustration, the alien fell to its knees, the armor clattering as it surrendered. The arena erupted into cheers, the sound washing over Alex like a tidal wave. He had not just won the fight, he had won the respect of an entire species. He released his grip and stood tall, taking a moment to soak in the atmosphere. This was a victory not only for him but for humanity, a declaration that they were more than just a species of survival, they were capable of greatness. In the stands, Varric felt a surge of inspiration. The fight had illuminated a path forward, one that could bridge the gap between their worlds. As he looked around at his fellow spectators, he saw that they were beginning to understand. This Deathworlder had not only bested their strongest warriors, he had sparked a change in perception, one that could redefine their cultural beliefs about strength and honor. As Alex raised his arms in triumph, the crowd's roar echoed through the arena, a celebration of unity in diversity. This was a moment that transcended the boundaries of species, a reminder that true strength lies in resilience, adaptability, and the courage to confront the unknown. In that instant, both humans and aliens realized they had much to learn from one another. The fight was not just about combat, it was about forging connections and redefining what it meant to be strong. As the dust settled, Alex glanced up, catching the eye of Varric in the stands. A silent understanding passed between them, a shared acknowledgement that this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. And as the arena buzzed with excitement, Alex felt a sense of purpose swell within him. He was ready to face whatever came next, not just for himself, but for all of humanity and the possibility of forging a new future together. The arena buzzed with energy, the atmosphere charged as the final challenge approached. Alex could feel the excitement coursing through him. He had fought well, and the crowd's enthusiasm had shifted from mere curiosity to genuine admiration. Today, he was not just a combatant, he was an ambassador of humanity, proving that resilience and ingenuity could surpass mere physical strength. As the announcer declared the next round, the anticipation was palpable. Alex stood in the center of the arena, waiting for the final opponent to reveal itself. His mind raced with strategies and the knowledge he had gained from the previous fights. Each duel had taught him something new about the aliens and their combat styles. This time, he was prepared to adapt even further, using everything he had learned to his advantage. The gates opened, and out strode a formidable figure, a warrior known as Galactic, renowned throughout the galaxy for its unparalleled strength and ferocity. The crowd erupted into a frenzy, their cheers echoing off the arena walls. Galactic was adorned with elaborate armor, etched with the symbols of its victories, and its eyes burned with an intensity that sent chills through the spectators. Alex felt a flicker of apprehension. This would be his toughest battle yet. As Galactic approached, the crowd's energy shifted. They believed this warrior could finally reclaim the honor lost to the Deathworlder. Alex took a deep breath, focusing on the task ahead. He reminded himself that he had faced larger foes before. Galactic might be imposing, but Alex had the advantage of strategy, speed, and an unwavering determination to win. The fight began with Galactic charging at an incredible pace, swinging a massive arm with the intent to incapacitate. Alex ducked and rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the blow that could have ended the fight before it even started. He sprang to his feet and countered with a swift jab to Galactic's midsection. The impact was like hitting a wall, and the alien warrior staggered back, momentarily stunned. The crowd gasped, their shock palpable. Galactic was known for its resilience, and to see it falter brought whispers of disbelief. Alex capitalized on the moment, darting in with a series of quick strikes, targeting the alien's joints and pressure points. The crowd began to cheer for him, chanting his name in unison. Each cheer fueled his determination, pushing him to fight harder. Galactic quickly regained its composure, snarling as it launched a counterattack. The warrior unleashed a flurry of powerful punches, each one a test of Alex's agility and reflexes. He moved like a dancer, slipping through the onslaught with practiced precision. It was a dangerous game, but Alex was in his element, thriving under the pressure. Varric watched with rapt attention, marveling at the strategy unfolding before him. "He's not just a fighter, he's a tactician!" he exclaimed to those around him. The spectators began to share their insights, slowly beginning to appreciate the depth of Alex's abilities. No longer were they simply watching a fight, they were witnessing a clash of cultures and philosophies. As the battle raged on, Galactic grew frustrated. It had relied on its sheer strength to dominate its opponents, but Alex was proving to be an entirely different challenge. The alien warrior unleashed a primal roar, channeling its fury into each attack. Alex felt the ground shake beneath him as Galactic charged again, but he was ready. He sidestepped the strike and delivered a quick uppercut, landing squarely on Galactic's jaw. The alien staggered back, a glimmer of surprise flickering in its eyes. The crowd erupted into a frenzy, realizing that Alex had the upper hand. But as Galactic regained its footing, it shifted tactics, adopting a more defensive stance. Alex could see the wheels turning in the alien's mind. It was recalibrating, seeking to outsmart him instead of relying solely on brute strength. With a renewed sense of focus, Alex began to play a psychological game. He feigned attacks, drawing Galactic into making rash decisions. The crowd was on the edge of their seats, caught up in the ebb and flow of the battle. As Galactic lunged, Alex ducked low and executed a powerful sweep kick that sent the warrior crashing to the ground. Galactic roared in frustration, quickly recovering and pushing itself back to its feet. The alien was relentless, refusing to be beaten so easily. It charged once more, this time with a ferocity that bordered on desperation. Alex could see the raw power behind Galactic's strikes, each one potentially lethal. Yet he remained calm, waiting for the perfect moment to counter. The two fighters exchanged blows, the arena vibrating with the intensity of their combat. Alex could feel the adrenaline coursing through him, pushing him to fight harder. With every punch he landed, the crowd's energy surged, echoing in his ears. They were not just spectators. They were witnesses to a moment that could redefine the relationship between their species. As Galactic swung again, Alex spotted an opening. With incredible timing, he dodged to the side and executed a well-placed strike to the alien's knee. The impact sent Galactic tumbling to the ground, where it struggled to regain its balance. For a brief moment, the arena fell silent, and Alex stood tall, chest heaving, adrenaline pumping through his veins. Then, as if the silence ignited a spark, the crowd erupted into cheers, chanting his name. This was the moment Alex had fought for, not just for victory, but for recognition. He had faced their strongest and emerged not only unscathed but triumphant. He was no longer merely a Deathworlder. He had become a symbol of what humanity represented. As Galactic struggled to rise, Alex took a deep breath, sensing the weight of the moment. He had an opportunity to send a message that would resonate beyond the arena. He stepped closer to Galactic, extending a hand to help the alien warrior up. It was a gesture that surprised the audience, one that spoke of respect and mutual acknowledgement. This was not merely a fight to the death, it was an exchange of cultures, a demonstration of understanding. Galactic looked up, the fire in its eyes fading as it accepted the gesture. The crowd gasped, astonished at the display of camaraderie. They had expected animosity, but instead, they witnessed a moment that transcended the competition. Alex turned to the audience, raising his arms in a gesture of unity. "We fight, but we can also learn," he declared, his voice ringing clear. Varric felt a surge of hope. The moment was monumental. It was a realization that their worlds were not so different. Strength could come from understanding, respect, and the willingness to adapt. Alex had shown that even in the heat of battle, there was room for connection. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers echoing through the arena like a wave of acceptance. As Galactic finally stood, the alien warrior met Alex's gaze, and in that moment, a bond was forged. The audience began to chant both their names, celebrating not just the victor but the unity forged through their differences. Humanity was no longer viewed as inferior, they were seen as equals, capable of teaching lessons of resilience, strength, and respect. As the final moments unfolded, Alex realized that he had not just fought for survival, he had fought for the future of interspecies relationships. This was a turning point, an opportunity to build bridges where once there were barriers. He felt a profound sense of responsibility and purpose, understanding that his actions could ripple through time, changing perceptions for generations to come. The arena continued to resonate with applause, a celebration of newfound respect. In that moment, Alex understood that the true battle had always been about more than just physical prowess. It was about breaking down walls, challenging stereotypes, and proving that strength could manifest in many forms. As he stood there, a champion in more ways than one, he felt the weight of history on his shoulders. As the crowds cheered and the arena buzzed with energy, Alex knew he had left an indelible mark on this alien world. He had not only fought to win, he had fought to understand. The connections forged in the arena that day would extend far beyond its walls, fostering a new era of dialogue and respect between their species. In the end, the victory was not merely Alex's, it was a shared triumph for humanity and the aliens alike. Together, they had begun to pave the way for a future where differences could be celebrated, and strength could be defined not just by physical might, but by the courage to connect across worlds.